you ever witnessed a judge lose it in court? There was a case that involved a father who was a drunk that had been abusing his wife and son for years. After one particularly violent fight, the mother made the decision to leave, hoping to come back later for her son when it was safer. What she didn't know was that her decision to leave that night would lead to unimaginable tragedy. A week later, she returned home to check on her son, only to find him dead in his room. The father had fled, leaving behind a horrific scene. Authorities later found him hiding in a motel after being on the run for several days. He showed no remorse during his arrest, dismissing the situation and downplaying his role in the boy's death, even though it was clear that his long-term abuse had finally turned fatal. The courtroom's atmosphere was heavy with grief and anger. The prosecution presented graphic evidence of the father's actions, autopsy photos, medical reports, and testimony from witnesses who had suspected something was wrong. The mother sat quietly, clutching a picture of her son, tears streaming down her face. She refused to look at the man who'd taken her son. Throughout the trial, the father remained disturbingly indifferent. He sat back, glancing around the room as if he were bored. But as the prosecutor described the father's actions after the boy's death, how he left the house, checked into a motel, and lived his life as if nothing had happened, the father smirked, shaking his head like it was all an inconvenience to him. The judge's gavel came down hard, silencing the room, his voice trembling with barely contained rage. "I cannot fathom the cruelty you've shown, not just to your son's life, but to the memory of him." The father opened his mouth, but the judge cut him off immediately. From that point on, the father remained silent, his smirk gone. The trial ended with a conviction, but nothing could undo the damage. The judge's outburst was brief, but he was speaking for everyone who wanted to say what they couldn't.